All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Third hour of the program. We're with you until noon. Now, there is no question that Donald Trump is having a significant impact on Canadian politics. Ladies and gentlemen, first hour of the program, we had callers give us a call, and some of them they were happy. Some people were happy because Donald Trump has ignited patriotism in politicians that weren't showing a lot of patriotism. Some of you are happy that this has happened. And there's also no question that people are looking at Canadian politics, the next federal election in this country, and asking who would be the leader best suited to defend Canada's interest against Donald Trump. We took particular attention last week. That poll being done by Leger showed that Mark Carney getting significant support from Canadians as being the best suited to defend the country's interests against Donald Trump. That's ahead of Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, ahead of other candidates for the Liberal leadership. Let's talk about this, the impact of Donald Trump on Canadian politics, with Antonine Yaccarini, a political analyst, PR expert, and a former staffer for both the PQ and the CAQ. Antonine, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's my very first time on CGD. I'm very happy to be here.
Hopefully first of many.
I hope.
Antonine, let's talk about the steamroller here. The Donald Trump effect on Canadian politics. How do you see it?
Absolutely. It's incredible how politics can completely change in just a few weeks. Not long ago, it was clear that Pierre Poilievre was on a highway to power. And now things are getting a lot more complicated for him. And we see a glimmer of hope for the Liberals. So that's the major takeaway for me in these recent polls, the Nanos poll and the Leger poll. I think that Donald Trump might have deprived Pierre Poilievre of his majority government at the minimum. And we'll see, because things can change a lot in the next weeks. So 40% of the respondents think Mark Carney would be the best choice to face Donald Trump, and 26% said Pierre Poilievre was the best choice to face Donald Trump, and 13% chose Chrystia Freeland to face Donald Trump. We have to keep in mind that these results are not the voting intentions. The voting intentions still favor the Conservative Party for now. But the question is, will these results transfer into voting intentions?
Yeah.
We'll see.
And, like you mentioned, Poilievre was on a highway. Like, he was coasting to supermajority, right? Now we're all rethinking that. I want to ask you, so what do you think the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre should be doing to try and counter that effect? It's not lost on me. I don't know if you've seen where Pierre Poilievre is today, this morning. He's in the north. He just did a press conference looking very cold in a big parka and a toque from the Canadian north, and making big promises about the north. So, what should Poilievre be doing now, faced with everything that we just outlined?
It looks like the Axe the Tax slogan is not as effective as it used to be. So the ballot question has changed. The opponent has changed. I think Poilievre would have preferred to keep Justin Trudeau as his opponent. It was very convenient for him. So the Conservative Party has gone back to the drawing board to adjust its messaging in response to this new reality. But the questions are, will it work? And will they be on time? Because there could be an election called very soon. The newly elected Liberal leader, should be Mark Carney, as we can guess, could decide to call the election as soon as the parliament resumes to control the agenda and to serve that momentum that it seems to have. So the Conservatives, they need to move really fast. They've been trying to hammer that message that Mark Carney is just like Justin, but it doesn't seem to work as the polls showed.
We're with Antonine Yaccarini, political analyst and a former PQ and CAQ staffer, talking politics here. Let's just take a moment here to look at the Liberal leadership race. And Mark Carney, of course, at the top there. I've seen Chrystia Freeland trying to focus on the fact that she's the one that negotiated NAFTA with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump, thought she was a tough negotiator. How do you handicap that race? Do you think that's a fait accompli now, especially in light of the American threats?
It seems like the liberal establishment has chosen Mark Carney very obviously. There's a lot of pressure internally for the staffers and the members to go with Mark Carney. I think for Chrystia Freeland, yes, we can say that it's over for her. I think what she's done before the holidays, that big resignation stunt, has a political cost. Watching someone turn on their leader and stab them publicly, it doesn't exactly inspire trust, I think. And we also know that Donald Trump really hates her. Well, is it an advantage or not? We don't know right now who could do the best job to face Donald Trump. But it seems like, in politics, we like the new guys. We have a tendency to see positively someone new entering the arena. We always appreciate politicians a little more when we don't actually know them compared to those who have already laid out their vision or made political decisions or mistakes. And I think that is also part of the explanation why Mark Carney is doing so well right now. But let's be fair, Carney is not a complete mystery either. He has a great resume. He has a great reputation. He studied at Harvard, Oxford. He was the governor of the Bank of Canada during the 2008 financial crisis. Mm-hmm. He was the governor of the Bank of England during Brexit. So that can explain why Canadians and Quebecois are inclined to trust the guy. But he also has, I think, a downside. He's untested. We don't know what kind of campaigner he will be. He has to go through an election this spring or next fall. And also, I'm wondering what will be his position with Quebec. He has a few ties with Quebec. He speaks French. That's a start. But there's no real sense of attachment or understanding of Quebec's issues.
He ate poutine this weekend.
I've seen the photo, and I have to say I laughed a little when I saw that tweet of Mark Carney eating a poutine in Drummondville. And we also saw him going to Trois-Rivières with François-Philippe Champagne in a hockey arena. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure he was understanding half of what people were telling him. It takes more than a poutine and some hockey to understand Quebec. And we know that in times of crisis, we often see a rally around the flag phenomenon. Mm-hmm. When facing external threats, we tend to set aside internal debates. Trump is a major threat, and as a result, we see that Quebec's interests are being put on the back burner right now. But inevitably, those issues, those debates, they will come back, and we don't know where Mark Carney stands on those issues. That's a concern.
But he also was at Carnival this weekend too, so he showed up. He was with Bonhomme, so he's good. He's doing a little bit of the politicking there, like he's in an election campaign. Let me wrap up with you on maybe Mark Carney's weaknesses. And do you see that, because I know you mentioned a bit of his resume there, but I look at some of the business stuff in the past and I say, ooh, that could be weaponized by, Pierre Poilievre or any of the opposition parties. Do you see any weaknesses for Carney?
Yes, and I think it will be weaponized. And I know we can already see Pierre Poilievre trying, and eventually this will start to stick, and the new guy effect will fade away. I think the other weakness he has is, will he be able to break away from Justin Trudeau's legacy? Because he's trying very hard. The Conservatives are hammering the message that Carney and Trudeau are the same guy. I think this could eventually stick, and when we'll maybe have a little more space to talk about something else than Donald Trump, this could come back. Carney is trying really, really hard to distance himself from Trudeau. He was on LCN last Saturday doing his first French interview in Quebec, and he said he wouldn't have given that tax break before the holidays. He said he would scrap the carbon tax once in office, so he's sure trying. But at the end of the day, he is the liberal establishment choice
Antonine,
for this leadership race.
We're going to have to leave it there, and we'll keep track of just how much Donald Trump will become a factor in these next races. Thanks so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Antonine Yaccarini is a political analyst, PR expert, and a former PQ and CAQ staffer.